Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm Parker Emerald, and this is The Conversation Station. Today, we have an amazing guest. We have a man by the name of Andrew Donegan. Andrew is a visionary in the financial services industry, known for his unwavering commitment to his clients. He approaches his work with empathy and a deep understanding of the importance of people's financial futures. Andrew's approach is characterized by his transparency, accessibility, and a focus on providing value solutions for his clients. His passion for financial services is evident in his wide range of services that he offers and his dedication to helping people achieve their financial goals. Welcome on, Andrew.
Hey, Parker. How you doing, man?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's kind of, I find it's kind of nice. I remember watching you and putting you in a box, running you around at your parents' house.
Oh, yeah.
Almost a decade ago, right? So it's really cool to see you doing this, and I think it's really awesome. I think you're well suited for it, and you do a fantastic job. So I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. I remember that one time. I think it was the first time you ever babysat us, and you brought over something that would run electricity through our fingers.
Yeah,
that was just first impressions.
I wasn't built for babysitting. I was.
Hey, I mean, you've always been one of our family's favorite of the people that came through to babysit us.
Yeah, I was just like, how do I entertain these little kids? I was like, all right, I'm having fun with this. Let's just see if I can electrocute them too.
Dude, oh my God, it was amazing. It was
a good time. Or I shot your brother in the eye with the dart. And I was
oh,
damn.
Yeah. Oh man.
I'm a little bit better as a dad than I am a babysitter. So,
well,
just
yeah,
so your audience.
I mean, you've gotta get because you have to watch what happens to them in the future. You can't just fail at babysitting them and then take off to Las Vegas.
Yeah, it's like here you go, Andrew, and your kids they survived. Like,
yeah.
So. But yeah, it's really nice to have it come full circle and just kind of watch you, mature and grow into a man. Like it's really awesome. So I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much. I guess we could just start this off. Why don't you tell the audience a bit about yourself? You know, who you are, a little bit about just your journey and how you've come to be who you are.
Oh wow. So I guess I'll start. My name's, obviously you guys know my name. He did an amazing introduction. My name's Andrew Donegan. I was originally from Folsom, El Dorado Hills, California. I currently reside here in Las Vegas, Sin City, Nevada. I'm not going to say who I am is not what I do, but I'll start by getting, the story into what I do, because that very much kind of shifted me. And I think this is kind of come full circle as well, because your dad played a huge role in, how my life turned out. Right. And so I'll start with that. When I was early in college, when I was still playing college football, your dad gave me a book, right? We were in a network marketing company together. We were both doing well. And he gave me a book, right? It was called The Retirement Miracle. And I read that, and it just completely shifted my whole frame of how I was thinking and what is possible, because I was reading a concept that I had never heard about before. And then I shared it with my dad, who is, and he builds essentially rockets and missiles for the, U.S. government, right? And I'd say he's a smart man. And he had never heard of the topic either. Right. So I came to this position in my life as a really, really young man. I was like 22, and I'm working at a hardware store and a network marketing company. And then I was also had a little landscape company and still playing sports. And I was like, no one knows about what's in this book. Right. I'm like, how do I find a place where I can teach people how to do this? And I was terrible. I was absolutely atrocious at talking to people. I had my own little internal demons and dialogues I had to battle as a young man, as we all do. And I just became so committed to sharing this idea, right? And then your dad provided me a place where I could do so and grow. It didn't really matter how long it took. It was really like, okay, I'm still in school. I'm still in college. I have 2 degrees I'm finishing. This is what I had to do. but I could slowly chip away at this vision. I could treat it just like I did like the gym or working out. I was like, this will take time to grow this. I don't need this to work right now, but I need to fully understand this concept if I want to teach someone, these steps, right? And I just slowly chipped away at it. I slowly chipped away at learning about money, learning how it works, unprogramming the things I thought were real and what you're taught, because a lot of that is a bunch of crap. And then, I look years later, I just was over the Sacramento Fair Oaks area. Yeah. And I was like, I want something different. I want to put a bunch of stress on myself and see what, that makes of me as a man. So I just threw the stuff in the back of my Audi and I moved to Vegas not knowing anybody. Right. So essentially out here working, doing everything I needed to do, meeting new people, being in uncomfortable situations. I helped build a gym out here. We had a little bit of a disagreement, right? Because he was trying to pay me like less than minimum wage to help him do all this stuff. And I'm like, that's not going to work. So moved out of there, and I essentially was sleeping in my car, showering at Lifetime, cash heavy, but I just didn't really have a place because I was always working. So I'm like, why would I spend? So I just, slept in my car and showered at Lifetime for like a month or two as I was dating the mother of my kid. And what I realized is like that made me into a very like rigorous and like determined individual. Like I was like, okay, like this is like the universe testing me in a way. It's like, how much bigger can I get this? How much, how much more uncomfortable can I make this situation, and what am I going to become from it, right? And from there, my life just essentially went vertical, coming to the surrender point of like, okay, this is the situation I'm in. Yeah. I'm in a city. I don't know anyone. I just know essentially my clients and then the girl I'm seeing. That's it. So how do I brand myself? I'm essentially a hippie from the mountain, the foothills of Northern California, coming into the city of where everything goes, right? So how do I brand myself in this place? And I just made it, very, very like a passion project. Like I'm going to show up in this city in a way that no one else does, like authentic, genuine, transparent. All those things that you said are something that are fundamentally rare here, because this is a city you come in, you come out. It's very transient, right? Yeah. So I was like, this is a need that everyone has here. Everyone who can fog a mirror has this need of education for money, and it's a scary topic. So what if I just become someone that is very approachable, very easy to talk to, funny when it comes to this, and makes it easy to talk about this? I can start having life-changing conversations, right? So that's what I did. I posted myself there. I read, I studied, and I just became the version of myself I am now. And I'm just trying to do it every single day. But I didn't really focus on, I just want to make money. It was not even, or I just want to like be this person. It was really when I shifted from I can make a ton of money here, which you can, to I can serve a bunch of people. I can take it. I can help a bunch of families. I can do this. I can make a big impact, is really where my life like totally shifted, right? Everything went up. Everything went vertical. And that's, kind of what I'm going after today always. It's like, whose life can I make an impact today? And the money is just what I do. It's not who I am. Who I am is like, I love to serve. I love to take care of people. And sometimes that can be a downfall and a detriment, but I always like feel good. It's like, hey, like I put my mask on first. I took care of me. So the best thing I can do is, help someone do that for themselves. Right? I think Jim Rohn said, I'll take care of me for you if you take care of yourself for me. Right. Yeah. And that's, it's kind of something I live by.
I totally agree with what you were saying. I've seen that, Rodney, work with him. Work with him a lot, do a lot of stuff with him. Met with him in Roseville yesterday. And that's one thing he talks about. And I've seen that as well. When you stop focusing on the money and focus more on the people, because the human side of things is the most important part of business, because you don't have a business without people.
Yeah. It doesn't even matter. Right. And that's what I like. I'll tell people a lot of the stuff you can learn in finances, you could just pick up a book. You can pick up a book and read it. Right. But it's just what's going on with the humans internally. What's going on in your mind? What's Parker feeling today? What is all that? Right. That really matters the most. Right. And I think people miss that. They're like, I just need to learn this one skill. I'm like, you won't have a
100%.
business if you don't do it. And me and Rodney used to joke about this like a long time ago. It's like, you might hear this expression like the A students will work for the C students kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And the B students kind of fall somewhere along those lines. That's not always necessarily 100% true. But the reason that comes, the reason that's a saying is a lot of the times those people are just so focused on that one finite thing. They're not getting the social aspect of life. We are a social organism.
Yeah.
And so these people who are excelling in the communication and the networking aspect will be given more opportunities than the people who didn't focus on the people.
100%.
Right? They just focus on just the task, which is missing the whole point of life. Is we are a species of connection. We are a social organism. And so when you build this network, you build these things, that's a living, breathing thing you have to feed like a human being. Like the relationships in your life, like Rodney, myself, we have your dad, crazy big like networks. And we have to like feed and water it. But that is really what's ultimately more powerful than the stuff we know in our heads.
Absolutely.
Is that community that you build.
Well, yeah, I think because they say that it's not about what you know, it's about who you know, but then they try to make it about what you know. But it's to the degree of it is far more important to know people, because for me, it's like I really like everything Rodney does. I want to go into that media space, and it's like, okay, if I didn't know him, I could watch videos, but I'm never going to get the amount of value from that I am from being in person with Rodney, having a discussion with him. The value you can learn from a person is it's astronomically higher than what you can learn reading a book, because you get to see them talking about their practical application and you get to hear it face to face.
Yeah. I'd say that like when I was in college, I had a business law professor who would only teach one class a week, and the rest of the days he was practicing attorney, right? And I was like, this is the best teacher I've ever had, because it's like this work doesn't even matter. This is the practice. This is how you'd apply a lot of these things, right? And that's also why I had a weird like aversion to a lot of college, because I'm like, a lot of times they're just sitting. Again, to be a doctor, an engineer, like you have to go to college. Like 100%. I get that. I'm not going to knock college in any way. But let's say for business, like some of the practical application is you have to see someone do it. You need a mentor. You need someone to learn. It's like, okay, I have this skill. How are they applying it to the marketplace? I can just know something but not know the market and how to get it out there, and it doesn't matter. Like you can know everything about it. So it's that knowing of a person or knowing a mentor, like for example, you and Rodney, that is the most acceleration you're going to put on your growth, right? It's
Absolutely.
Just like this person, he's teaching me, I can duplicate what I like. I can now have a soundboard for what I'm doing. It's the most beneficial thing you can do for your success. And here's the thing, when you find someone like that, they're going to want to see you win, right? It's going to make them feel good. It's like, hey, I'm helping this person get to where they're at. There's enough on the table to have everyone win. Again, people are going to be like, oh my God, like, be in a scarcity mindset, don't deal with those people. But the good ones are going to be like, I want to see Parker win. I want to see him get to where he's at. Because it's all, the Absolutely. Rising tide rises all ships. You know what I mean? So Rodney's definitely like that. So I know for a fact.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And what he likes to stress is humans over capital. Because a lot of people like to focus on the capital, but they completely forget about the human side of things. And yet I know people that I could call up right now if I needed to and get plenty of capital. If I had to, I could make that. You use your network, but like people prioritize that capital, but the humans is so much more important, purely because of the fact that when you have a network, then when you go to get the capital, your market is already there.
Yes, you've built your audience to essentially potentially sell or give or share whatever you have. You've built it, right? You built that following. You built that influence, right? That's why people like, as much as like I think it's funny, like you can have people who are like influencers, right? There's some of them who are just like an object or like whatever. but there's some people who actively engage in that community, right? So then whatever, they can sell like a cantaloupe to like 1 million people, right? It doesn't even matter, right?
Yeah.
It's because they've created that space, and that's really the most important thing. It is the social currency, right?
100%.
It sounds very, very Chinese, right? So social, social tax credit, but it's that social power is so important, and I think it's not stressed upon, right? It's just kind of like looked over. We just live our everyday lives, and maybe it's because myself and Rodney, and then your upbringing, right? We were like from the network marketing space, like we're just like relationships are everything, right? But
Yeah.
a life without relationships is dull. It's
100%.
I'd give away all the money I've had. I'd go like ever made to save the relationships I have. It doesn't matter, because you can make these.
You can always make
a
money
ton of
back.
money. Yes, I can't make people back. I can't redo the experiences I had growing up. I can't redo the memories I had with like Nick. I can't redo some of the things I've had, the experiences I've had with your dad. I can't redo those experiences with Rodney or yourself. Like I can't remake that. I can't. There's no amount. So it's just like everything else can be redone, but people can't. So we have this finite amount of time to experience this. So why do we focus on just the attainment of something that's
arbitrary?
Yes.
I mean,
and so it's interesting. I'm teaching people about that. I'm teaching people about how to acquire and maintain this arbitrary thing that we place so much value on. But in the process of doing that, I'm like, if you get this out of the way, you actually get to focus on the things that are really important.
Yeah.
Right? Which is the people around you, which is the ultimate goal. Like, I love money, but I'm not like obsessed with it's not my only goal in life. I love money for what it can do for other people.
Money is just a means. Money is a means to an end.
It's just a means. It's just a means, right? But I get to have these intimate conversations with people, and they essentially, when you're talking about their money, it's like for some people the most vulnerable they're going to be. So they're sharing experiences about their life, whatever it is, and they're confiding in me. And then you're just like, you get to really be a soundboard for them. Be like, hey, like, what about this or what about this? Even though that's not what they have you there for. Sometimes it's what they ask for, right? So just to be a well-rounded individual, you realize like I'm now serving this person is not just, hey, what are you going to do with your money? But they're asking me for advice for like a girlfriend or like a wife or like, what do I do? I'm just like, what? Right. Yeah. And it's very interesting. So the service just goes, it's like a full spectrum of things that you're able to do. And you have to have lived a life to be able to offer that to people.
Yeah.
If I just knew about one thing, I would be, a square. No offense to anyone who is, but I wouldn't be able to, have these dynamic conversations. I wouldn't be able to be like, oh, hey, like, what do you think about this? I'm like, well, I experienced that on like plant medicine or whatever. You're not able to do all these things, right? So I just think being balanced and focusing on things outside of money is
absolutely.
Really,
and I think that like a big thing is people think of when people think of currency, they think of money. But time is the most valuable currency there is, because there is a finite amount of it, and you can never get back what you spend. You can't earn back more time.
Correct.
I can't.
I was having this.
Yeah.
I was sorry, bro. I didn't mean to interrupt you. So I was having this conversation yesterday with a friend of mine. I was like, they're in a situation, right? They're in, let's say, a relation. They're in a relationship, and I'm like, you only have a finite amount of time. Right, for you as a young man, like I was like, you can either make a decision and stick with the pain of that decision, or sit in a place of uncertainty, which is even worse.
Yeah.
Right, because you're just giving up that time. You're in inaction. You're not moving forward in your work and the things outside. You're taken away from the family, or you can just make a decision. Because one, you're going to have to deal with the pain of like, okay, I made a decision, I'm doing with that. The other one is uncertainty. You're both going to spend time on both. Which is the more productive of the two uses of time? The emotions are going to be the emotions, but can I get less emotions, more productive use of this time? Is it taken away from other people? Is it taken away from other people's time? So it was literally a time currency conversation, and that's how I had to frame it. for him to do that. I'm like, we can't spend here all day moping like, oh my God, my girlfriend broke up with me, or I don't know what the fuck's going on. Excuse me, but because we don't have the time for that.
Yeah,
right?
no, you don't have the time for something like that. I think that's one of those things where when adversity comes around, it's how you handle it that defines who you are. So when something like that happens, being able to get right back up, maybe not right back up, but quickly move on and move on to the next project, next whatever it is, whatever adversity struck, being able to just keep going. I think that is so
Correct.
incredibly important.
I think that's huge. And it's like you said, it doesn't have to be instantaneous, but it's like, okay, realize what responsibility do I have to take that created this position that I'm in, and then just get up and move forward, not like sit there and sulk and, you know what I mean? Have your day, have your days of long shower, right? You know, but you don't need to be there every single day. It doesn't serve you. It's going to take away from you. It's going to take away from the people around you. You know what I mean? You never know. God, I remember this is one of the biggest thing your dad ever said to me. He's like, go into the gas station, Andrew, and pay for your gas. I was like, what? Why? Right? Again, in some locations, don't do this, right? But most of the time, go in, again, where we grew up, right? Go in and pay for your gas. He's like, why? Because the gift of you talking to someone in there is more impactful. You know, you don't know how far that leads. Or maybe it takes like an extra 1 minute out of your day, but you don't know who you're going to run into if you're open-minded to like just impact someone that day. Yeah. I was like, damn, like that's true. Like, what if I just say, hey, look, what if I walked in there and just told like the lady who takes my card for gas, 20 on 5. I'm like, hey, I hope you have an amazing day today. Like, thank you for being fast, or like whatever. I bet you she doesn't hear that in 10 years, you know? And so it's just like, what? I was like, damn, this goes a long way. How do I apply this in other areas of my life? Like, and so this is the little tiny things. That's how you grew your network. That's how that's how your dad grew this monster of a network, is by these little tiny things. Right. So I was like, this is a skill that's going to fundamentally be a core value in me. Is like, I want to be present with how these people feel, or how whoever I'm showing up to needs to get all of me in that space, right? Not be trying to like do two things, waste a bunch of time, because that little 1 minute investment of time, like you said, could have changed the whole aspect of how those other people are feeling.
Absolutely. I mean, like, right. I think being able to focus in on whatever you're doing that's another thing that's so important, because when you're everywhere, you're nowhere. It's like if I'm working on project X, Y, and Z at the same time, I'm not getting anything done for any of them. But if I am able to create a system and break it down to the simplest level so I can focus on one thing at a time, I'm going to get everything done faster and just in the end build out a better version of whatever I'm trying to build. Yeah.
It's like the jack of all trades is the master of none kind of saying.
Well, the jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one is the full saying, which a lot of people leave out. But I also think that you can be a jack of all trades, but knowing how to do a ton of things is very different from doing them all at the same time.
There it is. Because that's true. And that's where I'm in 100% agreement in that. It's like you were trying to, if you have a good network, I would rather delegate this project and say, I know how to do it. Let's just say for production, I'd rather send it to you or Rodney versus me trying to figure it out, right? Yeah. Why do that, right? I have people who are better than me at this who enjoy doing it. Why would I not? Right. 100%. So sure, I might have a little idea of how to do it, but it is not a proper investment of my time.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's quite interesting because sticking to what you're good at, not sticking to it, because that sounds like don't try anything new, but like if you know people that are better at it than you, utilize your network. If you have a network and you don't utilize it, your network is completely worthless.
It's dumb. It has no it's a compliment for someone to be like, hey, can you do this for me? You're better at it.
Yeah.
Right? Is there any way I can compensate you for it? Right? I'd rather have you do this than me. That is a huge compliment you're giving to other people.
100%.
Like, there's this thing like, I have to be independent. I have to do these things. Like,
No, you don't.
go live in a mountain somewhere. You don't. If you want to truly be one of those people, go live off the grid. Go like build a self-sustaining life, right? And realize this is not what you truly want. Right? It's really not. Again, there are people like that.
There
I
are
want a
people that
bunker and a
enjoy that,
fallout
but
shelter. I'm that guy, right? But you need to utilize your network. I don't know how someone would even become successful or a socialite without communication in that network and the delegation of like, hey, can you do this or whatever? Like, hey, perfect example. Andrew, we need a babysitter. I was like, I got toys to electrocute your kids. They're like, that's fine. Right? Like that's the use that is a use of network. As silly as that is, like we can't have this experience if, we don't let this buff dude electrocute our kids. Like, you know what I mean? Like that is a use of the network. So it's fundamentally, it's wild, but even on the smallest scale, like we're doing it every single day.
Yeah.
We're doing it every single day.
Andrew Donegan, helping out friends and electrocuting their kids.
Electrocuting their kids.
I mean,
damn.
It hasn't damaged me too much. I can still.
I mean, it might have sparked something in there.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it was fun. I mean,
it was a good time, dude.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what that was. What was it, like a little Van de Graaff generator? I'm not sure what.
I don't remember. It was just like a little black box with two metal contacts on it and a dial.
Oh, okay. The little the taser. Okay, yeah. So I'll tell your audience what it was, right? So I'm a mischievous individual, and I was growing up, right? And I built this box, right? It's this plastic box with a dial and then a couple 9-volt batteries in there in series. And then you're supposed to use pennies, but that's dumb because there's other metals in there that it doesn't make it as conductive. So I took copper rivets, I cut them and I sanded them and I put them in there and I wired them to the batteries in series. And I had a little switch and then you could turn it up. And if you turn it up to the maximum, you wouldn't be able to put your hand move. It'd be really hard for you to move your hand off the thing, and it'd be continuously shocking to you. And I made that when I was at the little hardware store I was working at, for no purpose other than for just chaos. So
yeah, I mean, why not?
And I'd put it at the check stand or whatever, and people would be like, "What's this?" And I said, "This is what it is, right? It's just a little game just to see." And people would have fun. You guys had a blast with it, right? It's like, I want to see if I can hold it on for 10 seconds. Again, I'm not like tasering people, but I just built it for this to watch people have the entertainment of like, it's weird. They're entertaining themselves by causing themselves pain, right? And it's sparking that internal like competition. Like I remember like, I can do this. I can hold it for like 10 seconds and you couldn't, right?
Yeah.
And just watching that spark in people and saying like, oh, this is hard. Let me get up from this adversity and let me try it again. I guess for me has always been something I've gone after and was seeking, because I would create devices and things and challenges for people to do that would make them do that. And so I guess looking back, that's kind of why, and also because I like the chaos, but yeah, that's what it was. Cool little machine. I think I have it at my house somewhere. Or my mom probably threw the chaos box away. But
sad. If she threw it away, that's sad. That it's the chaos box. How can you throw away the chaos box? I remember though, we would try to hold it on for like 10 seconds and we couldn't. But then you'd just walk up and just do it for like 20 seconds or something crazy.
I could only do that with my right hand. In the left hand, I have like metal from like being a little juvenile. I have metal in my hand, and so my pointer finger would get really, really stiff, and like because it has like it's extra, like it's all like jointed weird, so I can like bend it up and do all sorts of crazy stuff. It get really stiff, so I couldn't hold on to it. I don't know. I just, it was a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was awesome. I want to move into the realm of your expertise, that you are an expert enough that Yahoo wrote an article about you. First off, that was pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yep. Okay.
But I
Um,
wanted to ask you a question. I wanted to say, what do you think? How do you go about setting up? How do you go about creating a positive financial future for yourself?
oh, for me.
Or if someone came to you saying, I want to build a financial, I need to get ready so that when in the future, I don't know how to properly phrase this question.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. So how would I go about moving forward if I wanted to build a positive financial future? What are the steps,
Yeah.
right? Because a lot of times, like, there's things I offer and there's things that we do, and sometimes I'm like, you guys, you should do X, Y, and Z before we even have this conversation, right? So you have
Yeah.
an exorbitant amount of debt. Maybe you're just like, you have all these habits, right, that are getting in the way of you even putting away money for yourself, right?
Yeah.
I can't work with zero, right? So a lot of times, really the first step is you do like a needs analysis for the individual. Like, what is their inputs? What's their output? What does it look like? What are they spending, right? And we have like a sheet they fill out. And sometimes when you fill out the sheet, if you're really like self-aware, you're looking at it, it's like, why is this guy spending so much money here? And yet that's an opportunity to really like get deep with somebody
Yeah.
and like and have that authentic conversation when you're just like, okay, like, what's going on here, bud?
Yeah. Why are you spending
Okay,
$1,000 a
like,
month on
why?
takeout?
Yeah, what? Like, why? That's $1,000 at Chick-fil-A, bro. Like, what? Like, what's like what's going on? You're eating more food than me. That's not possible, right? And you really get to know kind of their situation. Now, if all those things are in line, there's really a few things, that you can do. It's really about, what are your goals? How long do you want to work? And how much are you willing to put away? How much,
Yeah.
what's that future look like for you, right? And are you willing to cut out these things? Let's say going out twice, 5 times a month. What if you made it, 3? That extra savings of $300 or whatever over 20 years, that adds up to that goal pretty quick. But are you
Yeah.
disciplined enough? So it's a lot of times it's starting people baby steps. Like, what does this look like? It's like, if I throw someone into the gym, if I brought you into the gym and say, hey, we're going to do exactly my workout at the same exact weight,
Yeah.
you're
I
going to
know.
die.
That's not going to happen.
You're actually physically might die, right? So I was like, this doesn't make sense. So, but when it comes to the financial discipline on that end, it's the same thing. You got to treat the people like they're little, right? So the first step in what we do is,
Yeah.
when someone comes and asks a question, is you teach them. We'll do like a financial workshop, and then after that, it's like, hey, did you have questions? Where are you at? We do the needs analysis, and then you kind of take them through. So it's like elementary school all the way to, the PhD level if they want to go that way, right? Depending on net worth and different things, we can have their retirement financed by banks. There's a lot of stuff you can do, and that most people don't even know about. But I can take them from X to Z. I can show them. I can't take them because, again, they have to do the reps. They have to do these things.
It's the whole the Morpheus kind of deal. I'm the one who can open the door, but you're the one who has to walk through it.
Correct. Because a lot of the concepts that I show people are completely different than what is mainstream. If you have a job, let's say you have a job and you have a 401k and you're matching, they only match 3%, but you're putting in 10. You should only take the 3% because that's free money. The other 7%, you should be putting elsewhere, so you're not exposing yourself to future taxes because you don't know what the future tax rate will be.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. We're like, hey, well, we're told to put money into a 401k. My dad said put money in a 401k. All these things, I literally have to unwind people from like social programming.
You
right?
got to
But
unlearn.
the government said you got to unlearn. The government said this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm like, okay.
But the government's the one who takes your money.
There it is. The government takes your money. So if I'm to put my money in a situation where I pay the taxes later, I don't know what taxes will be. What if, to pay off the government's debt, which is higher, they have to raise taxes. So they just took your money that you put away at 30%, and they're going to tax you at 50% when you take it out. So that's a 20% exposure you just gave yourself by doing what the government said, and you didn't have to do it. And people were like, what? I was like, yes. Like, there's just little things like that that people just have no idea about, right?
Yeah.
Or like, how do I accelerate this? There's stuff you can do with debt. When I used to part own a mortgage bank out here in Vegas. Like, there's so many things you can actually do. And if you look at money as like a game, what's the most efficient way to exit this game or step out of the matrix? Like, what is the best way? What is the best way to do it? Right. So to go back to your question is, when someone said, hey, what should I do? I'm like, this is the system I have, right? We're going to take you through a workshop. We're going to do these things, and I'm going to answer your questions as they come up. But the end goal is you're going to have to start putting money away for yourself, or we're just having conversations and you're wasting my time. Yeah. Right. Essentially, like, if you're going to, it's like the person who say, I want to work out, and they show up at the gym. Once. They talk about it. They don't ever do the reps, right? You're now taking away from someone else's time. Not like that person's better than you, but I'm very strict with my time and who I give it to, right? Absolutely. So it's like, you're coming to me if you actually want a result at the end, right? Or if you have a very, very, very complex situation on the financial side, like, how do I solve this? How do I build $500,000 a year tax free? What does that look like, right? I'm like, that's not that complicated, right? You can do that with X, Y, Z. And they're like, okay, how come my mutual fund guy didn't know that? I'm like, because he just knows that. Within each discipline, there is world class in each discipline. I don't know as much as that person does about, active management or trading or whatever it is, but I can call the guy. But they would also call me in reference to this individual solution. Right. So it's just kind of being world class. But like you said, I know enough about that to do it, to have a discussion, to have a deep intellectual conversation if I needed to.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where the individual is. They can be worth $100 million, $5 million. They could be 18 years old, coming out of high school, coming out of like Folsom High, wherever. I'll still have the conversation. Like, they're the exact same, because what I've found is sometimes that 20-year-old has the same fundamental understanding as the doctor does. The doctor just makes $300,000 or $400,000, $500,000 a year, but they spent so much time in school that they don't know how the money works at all.
That's one,
right? I just give it to these people. I'm like, do you not understand what is happening? No, I'm doing what I'm told to do. They just make enough to just pay for the problems to go away.
I think it's interesting.
So I was like, damn.
Yeah, because you look at
weird.
Like even a doctor who was in school for years and years. It's interesting because you go to school for years and years to these big colleges or wherever you go, and you learn nothing about how to truly manage your money. In any form of normal education, it is few and far between that there is a solid. Like, there's a solid foundation for managing and earning with your money, having your money work for you.
I think it's backwards. And I think if we did that, there would be a lot less of, lower income communities, right? There'd be a lot less of this. Is like, I think there'd be a lot less of the race issue too. There'd be a lot less of like people saying like, oh, like, whatever, this, this on this, these people on these people, because it's a fundamental resource thing. It's just a resource. One group of people has more resources than the other, and why. But I think if we educated people, which is my job, just to educate, right? So I don't care, black, white, purple, or Smurf, like, you could be whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me, right? I want to make sure that knowledge is there, and it's that fundamental lack of knowledge, and is what is damaged in the system. So you go to school, and I went to Sac State, graduated Sac State. Never once did they teach me, okay, what do I do with this information? Oh, we have like a job fair, like, so go to a job, but I'm still okay. I'm going to make this money. What is the whole purpose of this thing? How do I finish this game? It's like let's just stay plugged into the matrix, right? Like, how do I show? It's like, and with that mindset, Parker, also never going to get to what's truly important is the relationships. It's going to be hard to be present because you're always on this hamster wheel of chase and chase and chase because they've never mastered the thing that'll actually give them some freedom.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So then you're always chasing your consumer, your spending, like, and again, we can go all the way down the conspiracy theory hole of like why things are set up like that. And then you could say like food in bad areas, like all that stuff, like fast food in low income communities keeps the communities not feeling good. Like there's a whole bunch of things that are all tied into that. But if I could do one thing as an impact standpoint is if I can just educate people on how to, take care of their families, or at least if they can't do it themselves right now, the generation after them, like your kids, will be much better off.
Absolutely.
Right. With the legacy you left. Right. So I just think it's really, really important just to be aware and at least look into the information.
Well, yeah.
Right?
And
versus
I think,
just like.
Yeah. And I think I could equate that to something that Rodney likes to say is that, well, you have to have a system so that you can break it down. I think that in businesses a lot of the time lack systems in areas, but especially just for person by person basis financially, a lot of people just spend and they make it work. They don't have a system that's repeatable to generate and keep their income and turn that income into wealth. They don't have a system for it. They're just going about their life and kind of going randomly.
Yep. And it's hard because what is that requires discipline. It requires cutting back things that give you dopamine releases. It causes a lot of things, right? And I think the best example, I'm not saying this because I'm a meathead, but I think the best example is I equate it to like the gym. If you want your body to look a certain way, if you want to perform a certain way in athletics, you have to create a system. I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to eat these foods. I'm going to do these things. I'm going to get this result. If I don't do those things, I can't complain about me not having that performance.
Yeah.
If I don't do that, if I don't seek that way to better myself financially, I essentially also lose the ability. I don't lose it, but technically I shouldn't be complaining about why I am without. Why am I in lack? If the universe keeps putting it in front of me and I'm not taking it.
Yeah.
Right. So
you can't say there's no opportunities if you've passed up on all of them.
Correct. And I think a lot of people do that. A lot of people stay in like victim. And so it's hard I never will turn someone down to work with them, but I fired many clients from just being like, wow, life is happening to me. Life is happening to me. It's like, if you change that sentence to life is happening for me, like, your whole life would turn around.
It's all about mindset. It's all about the way you look at things, because you can go from looking at your business and being stuck, but with one piece meeting with the right person, they can totally change your mindset, and then you're just going. That is one thing that's crazy to me that I don't think enough people realize. We aren't machines. We're humans, and the way you look at the world changes everything. If you just change your mindset first and get your mindset right, everything else will fall back into place. Everything will fall into place. But I think one of the ways you have to go about doing that is through the humans, through the network, talking to your network and finding out what is their mindset. How do they go about it? How do they look at this thing you're trying to look at and can't figure it out? Because if I needed to learn something about how to market a business and I'm trying to figure it out, I would call Rodney. How do you look at the marketing? How do you market the businesses you work with? Or if I needed to do something about finance, I could ask my dad, or I could send a message to you and be like, okay, in this situation, what would you do? So then you leverage the network to get that mindset right. And once that mindset's right, you can do even more with the network.
Yeah. You're just like you're almost skipping steps, right? It's just like it's a slingshot. It's a cheat code.
It's a cheat code. Because instead of it being, I have to build this knowledge from the ground up, you just piggyback off of Andrew's knowledge and piggyback off of Rodney's knowledge, and next thing you know, you are at the top of the food chain. in terms of
Yes.
knowledge.
And what's cool, and I don't think a lot of people understand this, is everything I'm saying, I am a version of many generations of teachers prior to me. I am just regurgitating this information from different teachers on communication, teachers on psychology, teachers on financial, Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, right? Just different ways of being. I am just a product of their teachings, and they were students of somebody else, right? So there's not like an original thought I have. They're all leveraging that same quote unquote cheat code, right? They're like, this is how they did it. Okay, how do I accelerate it? So each generation prior is taking all that knowledge and like moving it forward.
Yeah.
So that's when I'm like, oh God, like you'll see something on like social media. I'm like, we are going backwards. Like we have this large platform.
You literally have every piece of information at your fingertips. It's correct. Right and here. Now, I just have to click a button.
Yeah, you have to click a button. So it's I find it fascinating that I'm like, okay, I have this AI, like let's say Chat GDP or whatever, right?
GPT, yeah, I love that thing. It's a cheat code.
Right? So I'm writing I'm doing stuff with it. I'm not gonna like have everyone like jump on the bandwagon, but there's a lot of things you can do with it that are going to replace hundreds of jobs, right? I can either be studying that, or I can be like using the internet to shake my butt around, right?
Yeah.
so I'm just like, we have every single human being who's ever lived right here in front of us, all the data, and I can learn anything I want, and I can share it with everybody. I can create so much value. It's almost like frightens me. So I was like, oh my God, it's with great power comes great responsibility. Yeah. That's how when I sit there and I type it in and like feel like I'm in the bat cave, like this is the light, the brightest my room ever gets. Like I'm just like, oh, like you can like create whatever you want. I'm like, how is anyone doing anything that is a waste of time right now? It just blows my mind.
So the interesting
thing, weird.
Yeah. No, the interesting thing is the meeting I had with Rod yesterday, that it was fully focused around leveraging ChatGPT for businesses, and it's just like it's a cheat code. It is the biggest cheat code ever. You have to know how to use it, and that's a skill in itself. Getting it to do what you want. I guess I could put this. So the Yahoo article, I was like, okay, I want to. I asked it to give me a description of who is Andrew Donegan based on the following article, and I pasted in the article, and it told me all about you, all the stuff. But I read the article.
That's probably what you read as my intro, bro.
That I may or may not have had it write an edifying thing and then just edited it a little bit, but
I think that's great. I think that's super useful. I think if someone wants to start marketing, I think having it build a website, get the product, get the information, go to them. Yeah. Hey, you look at your website. It's kind of dated. I'll charge you $1,000 to build you a new one time. Here you go. Fucking have Chat GDP do it in, I don't know, 45 minutes, right? Let's just say you're done, right? Yeah. You've edited the board. You send it back to them. That's lawyer. You're making 45 minutes and like $1,000 in 45 minutes plus the solicitation. So divide that in half, $500 an hour, right? Go on Fiverr, pick up every single contract, have ChatGPT do it.
Yeah,
just stuff like that. I'm like, that's like when when some of these people run into me and they say like, this is my financial situation, this is how it goes. I'm like, there's literally infinite amount of ways to make money.
Yeah,
now. Like it's infinite. It's infinite.
Yeah.
Infinite. I was like, so how much do you want to solve this problem? And a lot of the times I'm just like, but I'm scared. I'm like, okay. So then we got to break through that. That's here's the
thing. If you're scared, people are like, I don't want to use ChatGPT because it's going to take jobs. I'm like, yeah, but if you don't use it, you're going to be the one whose job gets taken.
There it is. Eat or be eaten.
Yeah.
Kill or be killed. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's just the way it works.
Yeah. It's
too bad. It's laws of nature.
Yeah. Me and Rodney are doing some crazy things with it that I'm not gonna not going to talk about too much because we got
Yeah,
some
don't put your secrets out there, bro.
but we got
Don't
some
put your
big
secrets
things
out there.
coming. But it is incredible because it eliminates a lot. It eliminates a lot of the blocks that people have when they're creating a business. A lot of the things that people like don't that get people to stop. Boom. Like last night I was running over some of this with my mom, and I like running over it for her businesses, and it was just she was like, "Oh yeah, I don't like doing this," and I'm like, "Okay, boom, here you go. I just did it for you." Well, no, I didn't. My best friend and most informational oriented person I know, also known as Mr. GPT, did it for you. So, it's an incredible tool that I'm curious to see how it's leveraged, but it's also it's used a lot, but it's underused. It's incredible.
It's relatively new though. It's a couple months old,
Yeah,
right?
it's only a couple months old. Yeah.
So that's the thing is like you want to master that tool because if people say it's not the future, it is the future. You're taking all of collective knowledge, everything that's on Wikipedia, all those Wikipedia searches, everything that's on the internet, and throwing it into a thing where I can type in a question, it gives me an answer. We were downstairs and my friend who worked at the mortgage bank I own yesterday, he was like making raps in how Drake would make them about mortgages and having Chat GDP write it, and then he would post it with Drake's voice as a voiceover.
Oh.
And Chat GDP also found where you could have the voiceover. I'm like, and it sounded just like Drake. I'm like, you got Chat GDP like dropping bars. I was like, what's going on? Or like things like I would have it like write trading algorithms, right, and teach me coding in Python so I could put it on like TradingView or like whatever, right?
Yeah.
And it knows the code.
Yeah.
I have to back test the code, but I'm just like, I just taught myself Python.
I need to get a better understanding of Python just so that I can like see, like identify some of the issues with the code. But I had it write me scripts for all sorts of things. It's like, okay, I want to be able to automate this process so that when I'm doing my podcast, I don't have this thing that slows things down. And I got it to write me something where I wanted to track a package and have it send me text notifications when that package was delivered. I set it up. I didn't like actually use it because I could just have Amazon send me the notification. But in 5-10 minutes, I had something that I could have hit run on my computer, and then every 5 minutes it would check the status of the package, and once it was delivered, it would text me. I did that in 10 minutes. I mean, that is a marketable service right there.
Yeah. And what's crazy is not everyone. Here's the thing: not everyone will take the time to go do that for themselves. So you got to give it to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Not everyone will use the resource. Some people just want to be led to water. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
So just fill the need. There it is. Done. Hire a bunch of VAs. Do it. Right? It's just like there's, for me, I'm like, there's so many things I can do with it that it's like overwhelming. I got to pick one or two.
It's hard to narrow it down because that thing can do anything. But I've got a lot of things that I'm planning with the AI to really do a lot of incredible things. It's going to be great.
I want to see if we can make deep fakes with it. That'd be cool.
So you can't make deep fakes with it because it's just text generation. But there are...
No, but like you could make like... What I mean, like, I can't, obviously you couldn't do the face portion, but can I make it reconstruct or show me locations where I can relay an audio, write something. Let's say I want, write ChatGPT, write a speech that Andrew would give about this topic. Enter. It would write me the speech, right?
So I will tell you this. That is something I'm working on with Rodney. I'm working on how to get it to leverage an input of someone's vocal style. And I'm going to start having it write scripts in how I talk. So then it's no longer a generic, "Hi, I'm Parker, and this is whatever." It's me. It's me talking, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be like very hard to distinguish the real you and the AI you.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I will. So I will have the AI write scripts. I will shoot the videos. I would not leave that up to the AI because I want it to be me talking. But you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know if it was a script I wrote or something I'm just saying.
Yeah, so
or
you
the
have,
AI.
So I have there's an app I'll send to you after that does that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll give you a whole topic and then you read it and then I think it's ChatGPT based too, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And then as you're talking, it does word overlay as what you're talking automatically.
Interesting.
So I'll send it to you. It's really, really cool.
I'll have to take a
look. It makes it like super easy for like sometimes you got to sit there and like create content. I'm like, bro, I have to send off these emails, do these things. I don't want to sit here for an hour. I want to headbutt a knife, dude. I don't want to do this right now, right? So it'll make it really easy for me to I'll read what it says, and then it's my original idea, but just articulated in a different way, and then it'll automatically put the lines on the screen of what I'm saying. And so it's really engaging for an audience. And you can change the colors, make it all fun and fancy.
Oh, are you talking about the Captions app?
Captions app, dude.
Yeah, that's just Captions based on what. So I haven't used the script writing capabilities of Captions. I
use the script writing. It's bomb.
So bomb. I have it up. I have it up right here.
Okay.
I haven't used the script writing. I've used it for clips from my podcast. I run it through that for the subtitles.
Yeah.
But I got to play around with that because I hadn't gone into it. I'm just curious about what that's like.
Because it was almost as good as the ChatGPT's ones. So
it is most definitely leveraging some ChatGPT or something.
Same thing. I think it's leveraging the same thing.
Yeah, it's just using the ChatGPT API to do it.
Now, this would be the thing. Like, how would we make an app where it's like ChatGPT, but it's an app? So it's essentially something I type it into. It would connect to that website, type in the response to the website, and beam it back to.
Done. I already had I had the AI write a Python program that did that.
So then what's the program? You just click on it in your computer and it's essentially ChatGPT with a mask on it?
I could literally I didn't actually like execute the app or anything, but you could easily build out an application within a like I could build it out to my phone, and then I could have an app that did that. It's not that difficult. That's why there's an API. But you know what I got it to do? I got it to feed me back. So I got it to there's a bunch of cool things you can do, but I got it to talk to me like it was Gary Vee. I got it to give me advice Gary Vee would give about marketing.
And did you write that app through the app?
No, I was not using the app I made, using it, but I was using trickery, some input trickery to get it to write to me like that, and I was able to get it to, you know how ChatGPT will just generate something with a period at the end? I got it to have the AI ask questions to dial in exactly what I wanted from it, and then it gave me the best answer, one of the best answers I've ever gotten from it.
So the AI was refining an AI's answer.
Yes. To a degree.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's like an AI score. You have like an AI squared situation. So then that's.
Oh my! Wait, like I just realized something. I could set up a conversation between one window of ChatGPT and the other window of ChatGPT, and where would the conversation go? I could set one of them. Create a loop. Wait, I could. Okay, which one? Okay, I could have one of them be like one celebrity and the other be another, and then they're just talking about what they're doing. And now you have like Donald Trump talking to just
do like the political. Just do like Joe Biden, Donald Trump, or DeSantis.
I don't know. I don't think Joe Biden talks clear enough for the AI to know what he's saying.
I'm screaming, dude.
No, but you could have like
dot.
Yes. You know, never mind. You know that thing that I was
I
just
got it.
yeah no, but you could have it have Donald Trump be talking to Vladimir Putin about the local ice cream truck. Like
Oh my god,
like
that would be
wouldn't
really cool as a feedback loop. You'd have this infinite like.
that's a scary
How far
feedback
down does
loop.
that rabbit? But how far, if you're talking about like a real serious issue, how far does the rabbit hole go? And is it like The Simpsons, where it's going to like predict like what it's going to say? You know what I mean?
Oh, that would
Like
be interesting to run it like set up the feedback loop and run it for 24 hours and then come back after 24 hours and see what it comes up with.
yeah.
That would be
That would also be
incredible.
scary to see the intelligence level. Does it recognize that it's talking to itself?
It might, because sometimes its responses will say something about I am a blah 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 model, you know, a trained text generating model. But I don't know, that's why we would run the experiment. That would be something. That's an experiment I should run. That would be really interesting.
Yeah. And then you say, okay, does it recognize that I am on this, running through this IP? Does that mean I'm a different entity, or am I running through another IP? Is that a different entity? So can I create the feedback loop? Is it like a different AI if it's a different IP? Will it still continue the dialogue?
Man. Oh man. This is
I'm telling you, like, I'll sit there in the middle of the night and I'm thinking just like, oh my god, this is like Terminator. This is about to happen in front of me. Like,
so when AI
like, oh.
when the ChatGPT first released, I was up till like 4 a.m. just getting it to do stuff, and my mind exploding.
But you know what's crazy? We're also teaching it each time we do it. So
here's the interesting thing. This AI is not learning anything at the current moment. They have paused learning because it was trained in early 2021. That's why or mid to late, sometime in 2021. That's why some information is out of date. Because if it was actively learning, then and the public could affect it, that could be pretty terrible. So they do take the data. I would assume they take the data from this and feed it into GPT-4, because this is ChatGPT is based on GPT-3, and feed it into GPT-4. But they locked it out from getting smarter and changing things because there's just incredible. They have training wheels on the AI right now. It has training wheels.
That puts shivers up my spine. I've watched Terminator too many times. I'm such a sci-fi nut that I understand that. Like, I'm not scared of aliens. I'd be scared of us creating fucking aliens. You know what I mean? Like, I would be scared of us creating a thing that just knows everything I've ever done my whole entire life just by looking at me, scans my face. Just like, this is all your misdoings, Andrew. There's a picture of you at 15, blacked out at Tahoe somewhere. Like,
so here's the crazy thing. So if you wanted to, you could feed a facial recognition thing in and you could feed facial recognition into an application that can go through the police database or a database of Facebook to find pictures, then use the pictures that it finds on Facebook for the Face ID, use the Face ID with your name to search police records, and then if it finds one that says it's you, then reference that with the mugshot to see if it's actually you. And then take that and you leverage that into ChatGPT to write something about all the wrongdoings you've done.
Or how to get out of it. That'd be better. What if it can write you letters that a lawyer would write? What if it can pass the bar?
I had it write a contract.
Okay, there goes contract law. Those are expensive, dude. What if you can build an app and upload all different kinds of contracts that chat GDP in there, and you can have an individual go on the app, selectively buy it without paying for a lawyer, and it's pre-done. You just edit what you need.
Absolutely. But what I would do, what I think is you could have ChatGPT write something for you, like a contract. But if it's some big important contract that has a bunch of like contingencies and stuff,
Have your lawyer look at it.
You have your lawyer look at it, but guess what? Instead of paying your lawyer for 5 hours of their time to write it, you pay them for 1 hour of their time to revise it. And now you just
100%.
saved a ton of money.
I'm aware. I'm going in through that right now. I wish I would have done it. I wish I would have done that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like, oh hey, let's just have this AI write this contract. I was in the sauce, so I was like, didn't even think about that. But when you slow down and get present, I'm like, Frank, I could have had an AI do this.
Yeah.
But I got another call here at 1:15, right? So I got about 5 minutes.
All right.
But I would love to like continue this. I'd love for us to take some time and see what we do in the AI world and like have a full open conversation about that.
Yeah,
like,
let's connect. Let's connect sometime. I'm available. Like my Wednesdays are the only day that's usually completely full. That's the one day, but besides that, I'm pretty open. So just
let me know. Do it. I really enjoyed this, man, and I love your energy about it. I love what you've done, and like you're brilliant, right? Just the fact that you're sitting there and like opening up Python and doing the different coding. I'm like, that's the same level. Like I'm going to say this, and as the highest honor. I'm like, that's the same level nerd I was when I was like in school. Like I was breaking into
hacking the computer.
Hacking the computers, like I changed the start sign.
So every time I've ever been like enrolled in a school, like right now I'm homeschooled. So but when I was like actively at a school, my whole thing was I'd go into the library computer and I didn't really know what I was doing, but I would fidget with it and a couple of times I got it out of its locked down system and into the main OS. But it's like that kind of stuff's incredibly fun.
I would change the start button to like a T-Rex or a picture of a penis. You know,
truly just chaos.
And there's no way to get rid of it unless you go in there and like change the code, right? So it'd be like a pixel dick. Or I would put.
Oh my god!
I would put open proxies on all the computers at school. They can't. This was 20 years ago. Get me in trouble, you know. So, and I would play like Halo Combat Evolved, the first one on the library computer, right?
Oh, that's amazing.
And I'm just like, what can they do? Like, how can you? I could go to any website. I could do whatever I want. I had a little USB drive. I would like stick into the computer and just like bleep, and just open it all up.
Oh, that's amazing.
So,
yeah.
Or I would be doing the same thing with like the first original. This is when I was like, how old are you right now?
I'm 15.
Literally same age. We were doing the same stuff. So the first, you just have way more computing power than I did, right? So I'd have like the original AT&T iPhone when it first came out when I was 15, and you would jailbreak them.
And so dude, I jailbroke my iPhone 8 a couple of years ago. Then I updated it to the new OS because it had some features I wanted. But I did jailbreak it and I customized the animations. It was so cool.
Everything so cool. But you could also make it so it was open to other networks. So then it was AT&T exclusive. I could sell for like $1,000 to some kid on like T-Mobile. I was like hustling. I was like, yes, let's do this. Like, I'll make it a business, right? And so I was doing stuff like that. So instead of like being reckless with like drug use or anything, I was just nerding out. Like, I was like, all right, how do I change my grades on the computer? Like whatever.
Yeah, I love nerding out. I love nerding out. It's about what you nerd out on. I mean, I dive into all sorts of things. Like, I love going down rabbit holes randomly.
We just did. We just did. And so I was like, oh, I like this, right? Because that stuff really gets my juices going. I was like, we have so much opportunity. Then we're like, oh, but we can also create a monster, right? It's just like the balance of like order and chaos we're walking down with this AI right now is just like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate it. I'm gonna jump off.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
I really enjoyed this. And I would love to do this again if you'd allow me to.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do
Right.
it again sometime. All right. Thank you guys at home for watching. I'm Parker Emerald. I've been talking to Andrew Donegan, and this has been The Conversation Station.